From the Justice Court, the Honorable Karen Brisbane.
Make sure I know how to run here.
Welcome, Judge Brisbane. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair, Commissioners, and members of the committee. It's been a really exciting year for Justice Court. We're in our 8th year of operations, and we've had a chance to implement new software that you approved in the cycle before this. We implemented that in May of 2017. That has allowed us to streamline our operations. Justice Court hears local civil disputes and trials after the parties have attended mandatory mediation. So we actually pay, Justice Court pays the cost of mediation to resolution services for each of the parties' participation. If a small claims or civil case goes through circuit court, the parties have to pay for their own mediation, but Justice Court picks up that cost. It benefits us, though, as well as the parties, because most cases can be resolved in mediation without the conflict and extra costs of trial. And we also hear violations. Violations follow criminal procedures, but for violations, the penalty is a fine, and there's no possibility of jail. Justice Court has a balanced budget. We receive no general fund support. We do have a special payments category in the requirements for our proposed budget. Special payments is the revenue that it's basically pass-through revenue that by Oregon law we're required to send back to local cities such as Canby, Westland, Sandy, or to the state of Oregon. For each fine amount that we collect, the first $50 goes back to the state. Then after that, the fine is divided half and half between, for example, Oregon State Police and other local cities that cite to us on a regular basis. We do have a fairly high volume from local cities. Even though they run their own municipal courts to hear local violations, if they're outside the city limit at the time they see a violation or cite a violation, then those come to Justice Court. Last year in our 17-18 budget, the Justice Court staff was 30% of our budget staff. In this upcoming year for 18-19 in our budget, the staff represents about 19% of our budget. The staff reduction has occurred through attrition. We've had retirements. We've had 2 individuals move out of state for various reasons. And so as they've moved or changed, resigned, we have not had to replace those staff because we've been able to develop and advance our technology. Right now we have 4 clerks that work 3.75 time, 1 full manager, 1 judge, and then security staff that we also hire. The civil division revenue comes from filing fees and other fees that are set by Oregon law. And then the violations revenue come from traffic and other related violation fines. There would be no fees in those cases except for possibly a fee to monitor payment plans. And then again, we send some money back to the cities, about $100,000 this year, and back to the state, $1.6 million of the revenue that we collect.
Wow.
The technology that's now available with the court software implemented in May of 2017 has streamlined our operations. The files are managed in queues by the software that's monitored by staff, and it's much more efficient to let technology do the clerical work for you. No paper files means that there's no storage of paper in a file cabinet. We don't have off-site storage units. We don't have staff spending time alphabetizing files, organizing files, or filing paper in files. And there's no time spent trying to locate a missing file. We have essentially no paper in our department. Since we've been sending our conviction abstracts for violations to the Department of Motor Vehicles electronically, we've eliminated staff time to print paper, mail it to Salem. We've saved on postage and also the cost to buy paper. And our online payment plans, we have about 4,600 people paying their fines online, or 46 different payments online, which frees staff for customer service to assist citizens on the telephone and at the court window. Currently, courts can send convictions to DMV electronically. We helped develop that program, and it's pretty exciting that it's just now being rolled out to circuit court, even though we've been doing it for the past couple of years. So we knew that DMV is implementing new software for their department, so we had a chance to recently meet with DMV, and DMV is going to be working with Justice Court to eliminate paper documents that the court sends to DMV. So not only convictions, but other documents for license suspensions, license clearances, and various other things that we send to DMV by paper are going to be developed for electronic transmission. And when the violations are set up by electronic technology, it sets up the file for the clerk, so she no longer has to scan paper copies into a case to set up a file. It's all done for us. And that process has reduced everything except when an officer files a paper ticket, then we have to hand enter that. Otherwise, everything's electronically handled by the software.
Beautiful. It's pretty cool.
Questions?
Thank you.
Where is lunch?
Yeah,
No.
we have first Commissioner Savas and then Commissioner Humberston.
Thank you, Judge, for all the
Two
great
down
work
that
you
way.
do.
Oh.
I was noticing in your presentation, you talked about the
Thank
3
you.
FTE, that the unfilled, the 3.5. And you mentioned that technology efficiencies, you don't have to replace them. So will there be a reduction in that?
I don't think there'll be a reduction because we have to allow for breaks, lunchtime, vacations, and illness. So we have 4 staff. We started with 10. We have 4 now.
So you,
I don't think we can go have less than that,
so what is your ideal staffing level?
what we have now.
4?
We have 4 staff, 1 manager, 1 judge, 1 deputy, and 2 security staff from DePaul.
Okay, maybe I'm misunderstanding.
Maybe I'm not answering your question.
Okay, put that slide back up, a few back with the staffing, the minus 3.5 you had. Is that possible?
We have 4 people working 3.75% time. So 1 person's part-time. 3 people are full-time, but then we also have a manager that's full-time and myself. Oh.
And did you say 2 security?
We have 2 security from DePaul, 1 male and 1 female in case we have to hand wand females or males that come through. And then we pay for 1 deputy for security, 1 sheriff's deputy.
Okay, so on that slide,
This slide, yes.
yeah, on this slide right here, you got budgeted 9.5.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so my question is,
We have a buffer of 2,
okay,
but at the end of the year, when we don't have those positions filled, that money is returned to the general fund.
right, so my question is there, ideally, what is your staffing level, 6 or 9.5? And then is there a correction needed on that unfilled?
I don't think that, well, we just recently reduced to 4, which is why, okay, we had more people. We reduced this year to 6. We had 8, I think, last year. We reduced to 6. But we only have actually 4 people working, which is ideal. But since this just happened, I'm not too anxious to get rid of the other 2 in case something happens. We've just been doing this for a few months with 4 people. We had a retirement in February for the last person.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks very much.
9.5.
Commissioner Humberston,
Oh,
And
next year,
then-
you're right, you're right.
Commissioner Fisher, and then Mr. Magdalene.
Just one question. You had an interfund transfer to general fund in the past of $1,147,266, and that has been zeroed out. So I'm sort of curious as to What happened to that for this year?
Well, until we're completely through this current year and the audit's completed, the interfund transfer will not occur because we have to finish the year, have an audit completed, and then they'll determine how much is
Okay, so-
available to transfer.
I got it. So you don't anticipate an amount, you wait till the end of the year?
Yes.
And then that amount will get determined at that point in time?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
We've been doing this long enough, it's pretty stable. It's pretty stable from year to year at this point.
Just when I
Mr.
see
Krupp,
something that big go to zero, I go, what happened?
yeah, Mr. Krupp, did that take care of your
It
comment too?
it certainly did. I mean, what happens is that money then goes into the general fund to be distributed to some very specific purposes
Yeah.
from the general fund. But we don't account for it until we know exactly how much
Right.
is
That makes
saved.
sense.
at
I
the end of the
recall
budget
we
year.
had that discussion, I think, last year or year
Mm-hmm.
before also.
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher?
So I'm just curious if you could describe what you do in regards to evictions. What's the process?
We follow the process with respect to evictions. We have a first appearance. We have pretty skilled people that can negotiate. Many or most of the cases are resolved through negotiation at the first appearance. We have appearances at either 8:15 or 10, and we allow the parties to spend as much time as they want. So in circuit court, they had 30 minutes to negotiate all their cases or set the case for trial. We give them as much time as they want during the morning, so it does give the parties enough chance to resolve most cases. If they're not resolved, then there's a trial in the following week.
And what is your is there a theme, a common type of case that you're seeing? Has there been any change in cases?
The primary reason for eviction is non-payment of rent, but there are other issues that come up as well. There are a few no-cause evictions which are allowed by Oregon law, but those are infrequent. So for example, if you wanted to sell your property and you had a tenant, you could give them a certain amount of notice before they were required to leave. Some of those people don't leave on time, and so they come to court for those processes, and then they're usually resolved on when they'll actually move. But it's primarily non-payment of rent. Other issues could be some type of not following the rules. Housing authority has people that sometimes don't follow rules. Drugs, alcohol, too much noise, various different things like that.
That's good. So
Those are pretty infrequent too.
we hear a lot about the challenges of evictions. It's giving rise to increased homelessness. I'm just wondering, in your world, if you're seeing an increase or a change?
Not a change, but we started hearing evictions in 2012. And most of the professional filers or the regular filers and even circuit court is sending the mom and pops over to us now. So I don't really see a change in numbers. It's pretty steady.
And then what happens when somebody can't pay their rent and they
Well,
go and they get in the back room and they try to talk it out and they just don't have the money? And then, I'm just curious, if there's a thing of what happens?
Well, the negotiation is either they come up with a payment plan to get back on track or they agree to move by a certain date. Those are the resolutions that happen at the first appearance.
And most cases are resolved.
Most cases are resolved at the first appearance.
And do you see?
And the good news for people is we're not a court of record, so there's no eviction.
Yeah, last legislative session, there was an effort to give local jurisdictions more tools to stop evictions. In your expertise, is there any changes in the law that would be helpful, that we could be advocating for to reduce evictions for folks or to prevent homelessness?
I haven't done research on how much rent people are required to pay for the various locations where they live. That part doesn't come before me. So I probably can't answer that question.
Yeah, if you ever have any insights, please let us know, because you're seeing it right on the ground, what people's stories are, what the challenges are, what's happening when the rubber really hits the road. So that information for us as policymakers and for us advocating and lobbying would be really helpful.
In most cases, if the tenant wants to come up with a payment plan, the landlord is willing to do that. We get a fair number of cases dismissed because they're resolved before they even come to the first appearance too.
Mr. Magdalene and then Commissioner Savas, except that, let me just ask one question. I kind of got the impression you might have a comment to the eviction piece. Is that right? Would you mind, Mr. Magdalene?
Go ahead.
If he responds to that? Thank you.
Yeah, just my one comment, and I do know there's different justice court, your court versus other courts, so I think it'd be interesting to actually find out what cases make it to court, what the circumstances are, and I trust your response in that it's actually a low number as far as the eviction no cause issues being in your court. I think the bigger issue is rent increases and no cause evictions that don't make it to court, right? It's
I
not
agree with-
contested.
Yeah, and I think it was explained to me by an attorney friend of mine that there's a difference between a landlord-tenant, I forget the word he used, not dispute, but something, and actual eviction. Eviction is when you do take someone to court, but the raising of prices and saying you've got 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, or whatever to get out, no cause behind that, is not necessarily an actual eviction in the legal sense of the term. Would that be correct? So we may be talking about kind of two different situations there. A lot of those don't end up in any kind of court. And then the actual, when they move forward and file an actual eviction notice against someone, those do come before a judicial system.
They do, but the difference between justice court and circuit court is that justice court is not a court of record. So any case that's resolved in justice court is not going to be showing up on the person's eviction record. So if they apply for housing somewhere else, it's not going
Doesn't
to.
show,
it-
yeah.
So
Yeah,
your friend was most likely talking about circuit court.
yeah.
If you're
that could
evicted
be.
through a circuit court proceeding, it will be on
It's
a
on the
record because
record.
it's a court of record.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Mr. Magdalene?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, Judge. Are the new the citations you look at, is distracted driving coming through?
Yes, yes. Recently, the legislature modified the law. There was a law in place that was interpreted by the Court of Appeals saying that the legislature intended only to cite individuals who are either texting or talking on their cell phone. And now the legislature has increased it to any type of electronic device in your hand through the last legislature. So you can't have any device in your hand when you're operating a vehicle at stoplights, stop signs, and parking lots. It's been expanded. So as a result of that, there are a high number of violations being cited, yes.
Guesses to the percentage, rough 10, 5%, 10, or?
The increase? Well, they weren't citing the off.
No, as a percent of the total, excuse
Oh.
me.
I could probably get you that figure.
Be interesting. The second not issue, is you've been able to use technology, I believe, to reduce workload or increase your productivity, keep your FTE count relatively stable, maybe declining. Did any of that come out, suggestions or help come out of the internal audit that was performed a couple years ago?
Well, we were already on track to have the new software produce that at the time the audit was being conducted.
Okay. Was there anything useful out of the audit for you in a way of saving money, making it more cost-effective?
Well, we worked together to come up with goals, but really we were already on track to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Magdalene. I see no other questions. I thank you very much, Your Honor, for
you.
being with us today. And just
time.
keep up the great work. Thank you. We appreciate your service.
You get an hour. We get
It-
an hour, right?
Yes, so rather than coming back at 1:30, could we check with Ms. Bateman and see if she could speak at 1 o'clock instead of 1:30? And we will recess this committee for 1 hour, reconvening at 1 PM today.